Hi there, it's Lee from Iridium here, and time for another review. Album review, out today on Frontiers, yet again, 12th of February. This is Joel Hoekstra's 13 and his album Running Games. So I believe this is the second album from Joel Hoekstra's 13. He's put some instrumental stuff out and all that before, but this is the second album from Joel Hoekstra's 13. Let's run through the lineup first. What a fucking lineup this is. Russell Allen on lead vocals, Joel Hoekstra on guitar, obviously, David Sheringham on keys, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, Tony Franklin on bass, Vinny Appice on drums, Jeff Scott Soto on backing vocals. What a great lineup. So this didn't surprise me because I was expecting a lot on this album, and fuck me, this is one brilliant 80s classic rock inspired album. Wow, man, fuck, this has got melody running from the start to the finish on this album. It's got a real big feeling, you know, a big sound to it, you know, like it's a huge album. What you get on this, and there's been a couple of singles out already which were both outstanding. It reeks class, this, from beginning to end. Everything about it. The songwriting especially impresses me, because sometimes when you get a guitarist having a solo album out, you would think they'd go out and, you know, it'd be your 5-minute instrumental parts and it's all about the guitar itself. It's the opposite. This is about the songs. The songs come first with all that melody, all that catchiness. They are at the forefront. But what you also get, obviously, are the brilliant musicianship from everyone across this album, man. It is absolutely fantastic. Starting at drums and bass, they do Tony Franklin, Vinny Appice, they do a fucking great job all the way through this album, keeping that tight rhythm throughout and letting like the other musicians breathe and do what they like. It's absolutely fantastic. Then you get the keyboardist, David Sheringham. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong again, but quite prevalent in times throughout this album, which is cool. Sometimes it's subtle in the background. Other times you even get keyboard solos like before the guitar solo and stuff like that, which is cool. It's, you know, you don't get that often, keyboard solos, but it's still sounding really like fresh. You know, sometimes keyboard solos put me off, but what they do is they mix it up with the guitar solos, and, you know, it's not all about the keyboards, but they're done very subtly and very tastefully. Very cool. And of course, let's start with backing vocals first. Jeff Scott Soto, man, outstanding to have him as a backing vocalist. And what's cool is sometimes when you hear backing vocalists and they're famous people guesting, if you like, you can't always hear their, you know, the style come through. Because he's so different than Russell Allen, you can really hear Jeff Scott Soto on this album, throughout this album, which is great. And then you've got Russell Allen, of course, on vocals. Man, he suits this type of music brilliantly. Of course, he's sang on so many projects and that, but I think this is where he really like sounds cool, because he's got that real classic rock, soulful, powerful voice. Man, he's a star. He is a real star. And Joel Hoekstra, of course, on guitar. I mean, there's just Whitesnake vibes going all the way through this, but he's definitely got his own identity. You can see exactly why he's in Whitesnake, though. He can handle all those, you know, complex songs that they brought out through their career, you know, with John Sykes being in the band and all that complex stuff, and he can handle it. Absolutely outstanding. What I do love about this album is you get quite a few acoustic guitar passages as well. I so much prefer that than having like clean, like, you know, a guitar without effects, like a clean guitar. Acoustic guitar just makes it sound so much better. It's absolutely brilliant. This album, if it was released in the 80s, man, it'd be known as a classic now. Sadly, the way the music industry is now, and, you know, I hope it don't come and go like every other rock album seems to. I hope it really sells well, because it deserves everything it fucking gets, honestly. Absolutely brilliant album. I want to talk about it track by track. So, starting off with the second single, I believe, Finish Line. Love this one. Got like Dio vibes coming through this, especially like We Rock, the song We Rock. I love this. I did I did a reaction to this and absolutely fell in love with it. It's catchy. It's got those very cool Whitesnake type guitar licks going through it. Vocals are amazing, as they are. I mean, vocals and lead guitar. Let's just get this out there now. Throughout every song of this album are just fucking amazing. They are fantastic. Some of the best guitaring and vocals you will hear on an album this year. Any year. Brilliant. Next up, second track in. I love this song. I'm Gonna Lose It. Nice soaring chorus, good guitar melodies running through it throughout the whole song. Man, the vocals are so soulful. I just love his voice. I love his voice. And you at the 2:20 mark, you know, you get sort of, you can really hear like his vocals like really like pushed to the forefront, and you just think, man, what an amazing voice. This is one of them ones that's got like a keyboard solo before a very nice sort of twin lead guitar part where the solo is sort of in and out. You know, like Striper sort of do. They come in with a twin lead part, then they have a little solo on its own, then a twin lead part. Obviously, I think Joel Hoekstra was doing all the guitars, unless there was other guests on the album. I haven't looked into that. But I love twin lead, man. You can't go wrong with that. Next up, the third song is the first single, Hard to Say Goodbye. And this was another great song, man. A real Whitesnake feel again. Like 1987-esque vibes coming through on this one. So much melody. Another one where I get a little keyboard solo, then into the guitar solo. I think it's a nice touch, man. It's really cool. The lead out single was a great song, Hard to Say Goodbye. Next up, we have How Do You? Another one of my favourites. And man, this has got favourites. This is like a greatest hits album, honestly. So, love hearing Alan's voice over the acoustic guitar. This is what I'm saying. When you have a vocalist like Russell Allen, make the most of him. You know, put an acoustic guitar in there and have him singing over it, and it just lifts it. It lifts it so much. This is like my mate Mark Clower would say, a ballad with teeth, this one, How Do You? Really nice feel to it throughout the song. Almost, it's got a vibe to it, almost Queen-esque in places. Really cool vibe. Such an emotional solo. You know, Joel Hoekstra, sometimes you get these shredders, don't you, that just are all about speed. He really shows restraint sometimes, and with his skill as well, and that's what you get in How Do You. Great song. Next up is Heart Attack. This has sort of a slightly bluesy feel to it. Nice odd time signature in the verses, and they do this occasionally where they have slightly odd time signatures. Just, it makes it really cool because they never do it too much. They have it now and again, which just makes the song sound so much cooler and different sometimes. You don't need it all the time, odd time signatures, but now and again you're like, whoa, fucking hell, that's cool. A different feel yet again on this Heart Attack song than the other four songs. There's a lot of variety. Nice old Hammond organ solo coming out to give it that 70s feel, and almost like when Joel Hoekstra plays this solo, so almost gets sort of a southern rock sort of feel. Very good song, very good song. Let me move on to the sixth track, Fantasy. Heavier feel with this one, with Russell Allen and Joel Hoekstra sort of mimicking each other, like on the chorus, sort of following the sort of chorus is doing the same thing as the vocals. Slightly more modern feel to this, slightly, but it's all got that 80s vibe throughout it, you know. Excellent twin lead solo. I don't know if he's got, said this the other day on another album, I don't know if he's using an effect on the guitar to sort of double it up, or if it is an actual twin lead solo. It sounds like a twin lead to me. Very cool. Next up is one of my favourites on the album. You know, this is packed full of my favourites, but I love this one, Lonely Days.
What
a lovely sort of Middle Eastern type melody kicking off the song and throughout parts of the song as well. And then it's weird, it sort of turns into a great sort of summer top down song. AOR chorus, so catchy, man. Sounds like a single. I wouldn't be surprised if Lonely Days will be a single. Next up, another good one, Reach the Sky. A bit of a funky feel to this one in parts of it, but they've got a soaring chorus yet again with some like odd time signatures, which is a pretty cool touch. Next up, this could be my favourite on the album at first listen. That's Cried for You. Great song, heavier. Russell Allen's voice in this, bringing on his Dio-esque voice in this, really powerful. Again, a really cool odd time signature in places. Guitar and vocals are following each other in this, like the fantasy song a little bit, which is pretty cool. The song sort of flirts from acoustic stuff to heavy Dio-esque riffing. It's an amazing song. For me at the moment, Cried for You is the outstanding song on the album. Amazing. Okay, next, Take What's Mine. Man, I love Russell Allen's like low end register. So speak about singers and all, you know, having that low end tone when you reach those lower notes, it's just as important as the higher. And man, wherever he hits his voice on his register, it just sounds fantastic. Similar sort of style to the Finish Line single. This has that sort of that riffing, very similar sort of feel to it. Great twin lead melodies throughout it, and this is sort of like got a cool use of keyboards like running in the background of this. Sometimes the keys are more up front. This has got like a really sort of cool sound in the background to sort of lift the song more. Great song that. Next up is the actual title track, Running Games. Now what you get is something a bit different. Again, you get acoustic guitar, just with vocals, bass and a bit of percussion. You know, this is sort of a ballad, but it's sort of all the way through. You wouldn't say it was a, don't want to say power ballad, my mate Kent Scriber, but you know what I mean. It doesn't build and build and build. It's the same all the way through. It's got acoustic guitar, vocals, bass and percussion. So it's like, it sort of comes and goes a bit. Probably my least favourite song on the album. But what it does though, it shows off Russell Allen's voice, and that's always good. And next up, I've just added the bonus track, Lay Down Your Love. Yeah, you know what I mean? I can see that this would be a bonus track. I'm not saying it's a bad song at all, but you sort of can understand it ending on Running Games with that acoustic song at the end to end it. This is more of a bluesy sort of old Whitesnake-esque sort of song. There's a cool acoustic part at the 2.5 minute mark to break the song up, but apart from that, it's very straightforward sort of bluesy sort of song. So not one of my favourites either. So I can understand why it's a bonus track. So basically what you get here is expert musicianship throughout. You get melody throughout. The songwriting is outstanding. And that is so cool from a lead guitarist, you know, to write an album like this and put the songs first. He knows what's important, and that's at the forefront. There's no mistaking his technical playing on the guitar. That goes without saying. He's one of the best guitarists in the world. But, man, and also he's going to be working with Michael Sweet, another guy who's going to be working with Michael Sweet. I can't wait to hear that stuff. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So, Kat's coming to join me for the end. So, easily recommended. A great album across all platforms. I believe it's available. Get it now. If you want to press the red button and subscribe, bottom right hand corner.